credibility having worn the same clothes for all this time. So she jumped.
Look, if you've got a Dalek up your arse, you don't worry about your jumper, do you, Ian?
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at this post that Ian had done. He'd posted to his group, and I just think it's such a misinformed rant that's just, I don't know. It's hard to tell if he's just taking the piss, but I don't think he's taking the piss at all. I think he's really serious. Let's get started into it. A very, very important open comment on our entertainment right now. What has gone wrong with these deluded giant corporations ruining the things we love the most in trying to chase a new young audience that consistently alienate the same people who have supported them for the last 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70 years? Ian, I don't think there's anything wrong with getting a new audience. They can't always cater to the old fans of properties and such. I mean, that's just not possible. The entertainment industry is always evolving. He should know that. He should know that as a music producer. The music industry has always been evolving. There's always going to be a new sound somewhere. And same with like the entertainment and movie and TV industry. There's not going to be always the same shows on TV. Always, we're not going to always have Cheers or Happy Days or Babylon 5 or Battlestar Galactica. We're not going to always have those shows. There's always going to be something new to come in and try to fill a void like that. But I don't understand where. I mean, you don't have to watch these shows. It seems like you think you're forced to watch them, but you could just turn off the TV and go watch whatever you want. I'm sure you have various box sets of older Doctor Who episodes. You can just go back and watch your old Doctor Who episodes, and the rest of the world will go on and continue to enjoy the newer stuff as well with the older stuff. And he's gonna go into this whole rant about Disney and everything. Let's start with Disney, a company in terminal decline. He says that they're in terminal decline, yet they've already made $4 billion in movie revenue across their various film divisions this year. They even made $1.6 billion with the latest Disney and Pixar movie, Inside Out 2. Not only became the highest grossing movie this year, but it's the highest grossing animated movie of all time. So I don't think he really understands the animation industry as a whole either. And when he says stuff like this, he says they quite simply can't see the wood for the trees. All they have to do is create a separate line of films to match the original classics. They could still create their plastic, modern, worthless shit, but they also had a classic handwritten cartoons like Beauty and the Beast or The Lion King or Little Mermaid. The thing is, Ian, the reason Disney does these 3D animated movies nowadays is because a lot of people weren't going out to see hand-drawn animation in theaters. Would I like to see a return to hand-drawn animation for theaters? Yeah, of course I would. A lot of people would. It was nice to see it when Mary Poppins Returns, when they went into the Royal Doulton Bowl and they had the animated animals and everything in there. They were hand-drawn and hand-animated. That was a cool thing to see, but I think he needs to realize that there's other places and other mediums in which the hand-drawn area is going to be more prevalent, like in TV animation. You got for example, for Disney's TV animation, you have Gravity Falls, you have Amphibia, Owl House, Big City Greens, Phineas and Ferb, Milo Murphy's Law. Those were all some great cartoons from some great creators. You got Alex Hirsch, Dan Povenmire, Dana Terrace. All those creators are just some of the most talented people that they had working at Disney and everything. Dan's even creating a new. We're gonna get some new seasons of Phineas and Ferb as well. So I don't understand why Ian says we don't have any like traditional type cartoons, but we do. We sort of do. It's just I guess he just doesn't bother to actually look at all, because it's kind of clear from this post. But he says, but no, they endlessly churn out substandard shit remakes of their earlier classics, and always with a black lead actress just to be woke. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think Emma Watson, Angelina Jolie, Emma Stone, Lily James, Lou Yifei, Ever Anderson, etc. are black. I think the only black actress as a lead in one of these Disney remakes is Halle Bailey as Ariel in the Little Mermaid remake, and I thought she was perfectly fine. And he calls it woke, and to me that's just a buzzword for like, oh, I don't like black people in films, so I'm just gonna be a racist piece of shit. That's essentially what tells me essentially about Ian. Then he goes into this little rant about Doctor Who. Even worse is our beloved Doctor Who, which Russell T Davies has run into the ground with spaceships fueled by the poo from babies' nappies. God, ever since that Torchwood press FAQ, I think Ian's had a grudge against Russell T Davies, and that was well over. God, that was almost 15 years ago that he had that whole thing. There was basically this whole press FAQ for Torchwood in Cardiff one year, and Ian was apparently invited, or he somehow snuck into it, and then he kept asking Doctor Who questions, and Russell T Davies basically I'm paraphrasing this, but it's like, Ian, you're not a journalist, so fuck off, is essentially what Russell T Davies told Ian Levine, and I think Ian's had a grudge against Russell T Davies for that while, ever since then. I'll link the where I found that in the description below, so you could check that out. But it says Russell T Davies has run into the ground with spaceships fueled by the poo from babies' nappies, with extravagant song and dance dancers, drag queens, transgender politics, gay preponderance, a soft, weak doctor who cries every week, and taking a dog on a leash through the fucking time vortex. It's interesting that Ian has such a problem with drag queens, transgender politics, gay preponderance, because this man is a proudly openly gay man as well. I don't understand that. It seems like there's always going to be people in the LGBTQ community that are just gonna go completely against the values of the LGBTQ community and turn on their own, which is surprising, because Ian should be proud to see some representation of people that are gay, that are transgender on television, because we hardly get that at all. In transgender politics, I'm guessing he's talking about Rose Noble, from the she was in the 60th anniversary specials with David Tennant and Catherine Tate. She's the daughter of Catherine Tate's character, Donna. Apparently he had a problem with that, even though she's just there. It's not really that big of a deal, and he's making it like it's such a big deal. A gay preponderance, I'm guessing that's he's talking about when Ncuti Gatwa's 15th Doctor is flirting with Rogue in the episode Rogue. A soft, weak Doctor who cries every week. The reason the Doctor is showing his emotions in this whole in this first series of his is because he's able to let go of his emotional trauma that he had to deal with beforehand. So he's able to show his emotions more, while as the previous incarnations are always holding back their emotions somewhat. like he doesn't have to deal with the time war anymore, or he doesn't have to deal with the flux or 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 the cracks in space and time, or having the knowledge of killing people in the time war. So that's why the Doctor has more emotions in this, and he has a problem with the Doctor leashing essentially tying a leash to Sutek and dragging him through the vortex to dragging him through the time vortex to revive everybody. And his last part for Doctor Who, and I say this as a proud gay disabled man, no wonder the fans have deserted in their millions after being told to touch grass. The only person that really needs to touch grass is Ian Levine. He barely gets out, and it really shows by his ignorant statements with what he says here. Oh, I didn't mention drag queens. That's he's talking about Jinx Monsoon, who played the maestro in the Beatles episode, the Beatles episode. There was nothing wrong with him. They were extremely fun villain, very like extravagant and like out there, like Neil Patrick Harris's Celestial Toymaker. So I had no problem with that. It was a very fun episode, and I don't understand why Ian has such a problem with these. He's just I think he's just trying to nitpick. He doesn't like Doctor Who anymore, and yet he continues to interact with it. And finally, he goes on to rant about Babylon 5. And finally, Babylon 5, potentially the greatest space opera of all time, owned by Warner Bros., who are so fucking dumb and stupid they wouldn't recognize its success if it broke their noses open. For 30 fucking years, they should have brought it back, but their stupidity is mind-boggling. Fuck them. Babylon 5 is such a niche property that I think it's kind of a risk for Warner Brothers to bring back. That they're unsure that if Babylon 5 is going to be any success, have any success. Let me look this up, because let's see, Babylon 5 first episode date aired in 1994. So yeah, that is about almost 30 years ago. 94 to 93 to 97. 98, 93 to 98. So it ran for 5 years. Had 5 seasons. Wow, that's pretty good. I mean, that's a pretty good run for a sci-fi channel. Ran on PTEN from 93, Primetime Entertainment Network, and then it ran on TNT for its final year. Interesting. Had a lot of Miguel O'Hare, Jerry Doyle, Mira Furlan. Oh yeah, from Daniel Rousseau from Lost. Caitlin Brown, Bill Mooney from Billy Mooney from Lost in Space. Yeah. Will Robinson from Lost in Space was in that. That's interesting. A lot of sci-fi veterans, it seems like they got for it, as well as for their cast. 5 seasons. So why exactly was it canceled? That's what I want to know. It seems like it had a lot of movies. There was a recent movie in 2023, an animated movie, but I guess Ian doesn't count animation as anything, so it's just he thinks it's child's play and it's just for children and everything, and then it doesn't really count for anything. It just recently had a movie last year, so I don't understand why he thinks it's bad. Heck, Rotten Tomatoes, it's a review aggregator. The score, a score of 83%. So it did pretty great. So I don't understand. Maybe. I mean, Warner Brothers. I guess that shows that Warner Brothers is willing to do some stuff with Babylon 5 if they want to, but it is kind of a niche franchise. It does have a niche fan base, so I don't think it's that big. It would be that feasible for Warner Brothers to essentially bring back. I mean, Doctor Who was kind of a risk too when they brought it back in 2005. They weren't sure if it was gonna do well, and it eventually did do well. It found its audience. We got Christopher Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor and everything, and then that did pretty good. But like Babylon 5 is so niche as well. It's like Blake 7. You've only got a few people who are gonna really go for that and everything. I'm gonna try to get into Blake 7 as well. I'm gonna try to pick up that Blu-ray box set and check out the series. So I've heard it's pretty good, and so I can't wait for that. But let's finish out this post. 2024, and we are surrounded by idiots unable to maintain greatness, determined to allow their agenda of diversity to ruin what used to be classic film and television. Corporations run by cretins. The answer is so fucking obvious. There was nothing wrong with the programs of the 1960s and 70s. The programs of 2024 are not worth the shit in their space babies nappies. Yes, I'm talking to you, Russell T Davies. You fucking lost the plot, turning from a genius in 2005 into a sad political enforcer in 2024. It's fucking tragic. I think the only tragedy is that Ian is just such an absolute ranting old man who wants people to get off his lawn. He has such a big grudge against Russell T Davies from that one FAQ, that one Torchwood FAQ. He's still so mad about Russell T Davies telling him to fuck off, and it's so obvious from his writing and everything. You would think an openly gay man would love the representation in people that Russell T Davies was bringing into Doctor Who and everything. I think it's fantastic to see people finally getting represented on television and being more accepted by people nowadays. But it's people like Ian Levine that are holding back the industry and everything, and people like these right-wing YouTubers that are constantly calling things woke when they're clearly not woke. Doctor Who has always maintained a sense of pride of being quite progressive since its debut in 1963. The Daleks was a representation of the Nazis. In like for 1963, the United Kingdom still hasn't moved on from World War II. If you looked at your window, you could probably see some bombed out. During that time, you could probably still see some bombed out buildings from the Blitz, and it was still very much fresh in people's minds at the time with the Daleks and everything. And it works the same way nowadays. We still have like proper progressive values and everything, and that's shown in Doctor Who. It amazes me that people think that Doctor Who just now became woke when it's always been like this. We've always had stuff like this, and heck, even in the Seventh Doctor's era with Remembrance of the Daleks, we have a lot of like it's really not hidden away to talk about the racism and everything that was in 60s England. It's clearly shown in that. It just seems like Ian wants to hold back the industry as a whole, and he only wants it in his image, which is why he's doing these AI reconstructions to try to hold on to his youth. For Doctor Who and everything, but it just leads into something that's just absolutely terrible. These AI slops are just bad. I wish he would realize that, but he doesn't. He doesn't understand that. He's just so set in his ways that he has to be the one who's right. That's everything I wanted to talk about this, guys. I hope you had a wonderful night and everything day. Whenever you're watching this, I hope you enjoy yourself and take care. Remember to like, comment down below, and subscribe here for more videos talking about whatever I wanted to talk about. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.